All right, hey, good morning. Welcome. Those of you here in Tremont, welcome. Special welcome to our simulcast locations today. We're simulcasting this event out. So welcome to you folks in Fargo, North Dakota, Lincoln, Nebraska, a group up in Ontario, Canada, as well as we got a group over at the Fort Wayne Farm Show in Indiana joining us that'll be taking part throughout the day. You know, this is a day that we look forward to all year round. Our team works hard researching, developing products, and this is kind of our opportunity to share the latest with you. So we are glad you're here, and we got a lot to get into. So in Tremont, don't get too comfortable in your seats because we're going to be moving pretty quick. As you can see in that video, there's a lot of new stuff that you're going to see, and so we're going to really get into our day and get into the schedule, get into the breakouts pretty quick here for you to hear from the team of what all is going on. But before we do that, I think it's helpful to say, why are we here, right? Why are you here? Why are we here as a company, as Precision Planting? What's our focus? And I think this quote out of an article from Successful Farming this last year starts to capture it pretty well. You see what it says, high-tech crop farmers who are adopting technology are getting yields that are 20 to 40% above their neighbors. It talked about how the spread is starting to get wider and wider between those that are kind of adopting some of these new practices and technologies and those that aren't. And so that's part of it, right? Driving yield. And we'll talk about that today. We'll talk about things that we're seeing that I think where we can get a little bit more yield out in the field. But that's not the full story. And what I really like about this article is it goes on to say, you know, even in low margin years, these farmers are turning an operating profit. That's really what it's about, right? ROI. At the end of the day, controlling that and being able to deliver on it. This article is actually titled Long-Term Profit Analysis on the Farm. And one of the points was they think technology is an important way to do that. Looking at our equipment a little bit differently and implementing new practices and technology to do it. So that's why we're here. That's what drives us as a team. And that's what you're going to hear from today. So today you'll hear from 13 different presenters all across our team. Agronomists like Corey Mulbauer here on the screen. This is where it starts for a lot of us, out in the field, either on their own farm or all our research farms, digging, looking at the seed, saying what's affecting it, where are we getting the yield, and starting to build off of that to develop the solutions that we'll share with you. But it goes from there. Here's a couple of our engineers that are out in the field. Will Frank is there in the black shirt. You see him with the spade digging some roots. He's a product manager who's going to talk to you later about one of the exciting new areas of research that we've been doing for the last few years. Next to him is Gabe DeMarc, who's an engineer down in our Brazilian team. So for the last few years, we built a team internationally that helps really even furthering our research. You see next to him, he's got this yellow tool, what we call the pogo stick. If you've been to the winter conference before, you might have seen us talk about using this for research. Maybe you've seen your premier dealer out in your field. Our dealers now have these as a research tool to go out and analyze the corn stand or a stand of beans or other crops. A great way to gather data, right? What that pogo stick is, there's a tape measure on the bottom. On the top is a tray for an iPad. And so we could quickly go out in the field and scout and gather that information. To date, our team has compiled over 12 million plants and analyzed over 12 million plants with this tool to just help drive better decisions, because that's what we really are focused on. So we hear about data. You're going to hear about data today. We'll talk about that. But we really focus on the decision you can make with it. What's the point of characterizing 12 million plants? To be able to find out what's holding them back and how we can get more out of it. So we're really focused on saying, how does this data that we're gathering on the farm help us make decisions, help you make a better decision? And that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about as we look at some of our technology pieces. For us and many of you, you know, the way this is experienced is with the Seed Sense, the 2020 Seed Sense. And, you know, it's kind of fun to look back. This is the 10-year anniversary of the 2020 Seed Sense. It's pretty amazing as we look at it that 10 years ago, 2008 was the first year that you could take the Seed Sense and actually put it out on your planter to get a really advanced picture of what's going on. And over these last 10 years, now it's been able to grow. And so we start by gathering the data, visualizing it as we create field view and start to look at that. And then once we have that, we can Add tools like a V-drive motor or a Delta Force cylinder to control downforce automatically as you go across the field. So that 2020, once we started gathering the data, you have it to make a better decision, and then we can help make more products that really enable that for you. You know, a couple of the more recent products, a couple of the areas that we just think are really important as you look at your operation are products called Speed Tube and VSET Select. You know, Speed Tube is a product that we launched that allows you to take your existing planter and replace the current seed tube with a high-tech device that's now going to allow you to plant up to twice as fast as you currently do. We know that planting at the right time is really important. Speed Tube is a great tool to be able to do that. VSET Select is the first product that allows you to take your existing planter and now make it into a multi-genetic planter. So instead of having to plant just one hybrid or one genetic across a field, that you can actually plant a more offensive hybrid in the high productive zones and a more defensive in those lower productivity zones. Both of which we think are really important as we look at the farm. There's real return on investment to apply those technologies today. The hard part for us is that you've had to choose. And it's a trade-off we just don't think that you have to make. We don't want you to have to make that trade-off. So today, Jason Webster, one of our agronomists, and Luke Stuber from our R&D team are going to share with you kind of this next evolution of multi-genetic planting. This planter behind me, you see Jason Webster planted with it this spring. And for those of you that have heard Jason before, he's one of the leaders in our industry in looking at multi-genetic planting. He tried some new things. He's going to share that with you. I think you guys are going to really like some new options that you have as you look at those technologies into the future. So, as much as we know about the planter, there are still things that we don't see yet, right, that are affecting our yield. One of the biggest of those that our team has been looking at is in the furrow. How is that seed resting? Once we put it into the ground, what's happening? Is it really in the right environment? And as many sensors as we might have on our equipment, many times, what are we left to do in the furrow is go back with a pocket knife, dig in the trench, see if we got moisture, see if our depth's consistent, and really look at that. So our team obviously isn't satisfied with that. Say, man, we need more eyes in the furrow. We need to be able to see that. So what do? We start putting things like GoPro cameras down there in the trench, start analyzing, watch that seed come in. You see this, get all this data. You know, but our engineers are looking at it saying, okay, well, I need another angle on it. So I'll call this is our version 2.0 GoPro. So when the actual camera doesn't work, you know, just lay on the back of the planter. This is Mike Sternhead, one of our engineers, looking in the furrow. If you want to talk about hopper extensions, look like he's got some neat ideas for that too, doing all kinds of fun stuff back there. Version 3.0, it's not real comfortable riding on the back of the planter. Why not, you know, build a sled out in the shop. You grab some plywood, a PVC pipe, and a chain, and now he's going back there and looking, right, and just watch what's going on. This is my kid's favorite one, the option to ride behind. But in reality, what's Mike actually doing? He's been part of the team for the last few years developing a tool that we think really gives us a whole new layer of data that we can actually get eyes into the furrow, and that is the Smart Firmer. And so you're going to hear more about that today. We've been talking about it now and sharing some of our research over the last few years, but this is the first year that you'll have access to that and be able to put that on your planter as we're commercially available with this product. And we're excited to be able to have now sensors in the furrow, eyes in the furrow that can get real-time measurements of moisture, temperature, residue, and even while we're doing that, get a real measurement of organic matter on that planter pass. And that unlocks all kinds of opportunity to be able to do what we can do from there on the farm. We had a lot of fun this last year. It was beta, over 65,000 acres, 21 different states that Smart Firmers were running in. And we learned things that we weren't even expecting. There's a lot of research being done, but there's stories that came out of this beta that you're really going to hear about in all the different breakouts and how it ties into really all the different technology, just getting more sensors and that information in. So we're excited about that tool. Dale Cook is a product manager. He's going to be sharing more about it, but you're going to see it kind of throughout the day as we go through the different breakouts. But what does that do? That brings more data and brings us back, right, to the 2020. how we get that data is important, how we look at that, how we take that information in. And so our team has been looking and saying, as we look at 5 more metrics from something like SmartFirmer, 5 more numbers that are really valuable to have, how do we give them to you in the cab in a way that you can make a good decision? So another thing you're going to see today for the first time is a new 2020 display. So we need more horsepower in the cab as we look at all we're doing with this technology, all this information we're taking in and all the control pieces that we have on the other side. So this new 2020 display goes to another level of performance, offers a lot of customization for you to be able to get just the information you want, to see it in the way that you want it, a lot more flexibility as you go through that, to be able to take this information, tie in the right control products, visualize that in the right way. So Ryan Algeier has been our product manager on the 2020 team. He's going to get up here and talk more about what has led us to this point and what you can expect with this new display. So we're excited for you guys to get to see that. We have them in the locations. Each one of our simulcasts will have these displays up. You'll be able to touch it and feel it and mess with it here today as well. The great thing that does too is as we look at flexibility, we look at that monitor going from just on the planter into our other pieces of equipment. When we look at fertilizer application, we look at side dress application, our team's been doing a lot of research on this, and we see a lot of areas for improvement still. There's still a lot of inefficiency, and we look at seed and fertilizers are 2 biggest costs on the farm each year, as well as 2 of the biggest drivers of what our yield's going to be. So we've done a lot of research, and back in the R&D bay, Justin McMenemy and Jason Stoller have a 1,000-gallon tank with our self-proclaimed mini Bellagio fountain there that you guys are going to be able to see and visualize what's being done in that area, what our research is showing, and some new tools that you're going to have to be able to take to your planner and into further operations as you go into this next year. And then lastly, at the end of the day, those of us at Tremont are all going to come back into this room, and we're going to share some of the latest research that we're doing. As we look at this display, we're looking at other crops. And a lot of our approach from agronomic learning, understanding what's happening in the field and being able to find solutions to that, apply as we look at these other crops like wheat. So behind me here in Tremont, there's a stand that's covered with a tarp. It's not going to be uncovered until the very end of the day. And you're going to hear about that, some of a new product and the latest research into a whole new area. So we've got a lot. We got a lot. The team has put a lot of work into this. And the thing to remember for those of us, as you go through this day, these presenters, in many instances, these are the guys that are in the field doing the research or those that are designing the product themselves. So interact. You have some times for questions. Ask them questions. Take advantage of that. If you don't get your questions answered, you see this in Tremont, you'll see this on the board. Those of you in a simulcast, write this down. If you want to text us questions, we'll send a follow-up. Put your contact information in there. We want to make sure we can reach out to you. What you do is you text to the phone number 37607. In the body of the text, put the word precision, and then put in your question. And go ahead and put your name there. We get your phone number from that if you want us to follow up with you. But at any point, any of us in the white shirts can help you. Stop, ask us. We've got first aid on site here at the facility if anything were to come up. Back in the hallway here at the simulcast locations, reach out to a white shirt. They'll be able to make sure you get taken care of because we really want you to enjoy the day and have a great time. Those of you on social media, there's been a lot of excitement here as we've kicked this off. Hashtag PP Winter Conference 2018. You'll see we're playing some of those tweets throughout the day, a lot of the information. Use that hashtag, tag that out there. And another great way to share some of the information you're learning or see what others are taking in. All right, so we're going to get moving and get headed into our breakouts. And the way we're going to do that, you were given a notebook. You were given a notebook when you came in for 2 reasons, okay? So the first one, it's got your schedule and how you're going to move around. So there's a color on the cover. And so there's 4 different colored notebooks, all right? And so here in Tremont, there's a group leader that's going to have a sign with that color. So throughout the day, always look there's a couple of them with your colored sign. They're going to help make sure you get to the right spot. They're going to hold this up and lead you around, okay, throughout the day. As we get ready to get started, the orange group is going to stay right here. The yellow group will be heading back over into that auditorium. The gray group will head out this door. Blue is going to head out there. But look for that group leader that's got that sign in the back. They're going to be holding those up, and they're going to help lead you around. Make sure throughout the day that you're able to get where you need to be. All right? The other reason why you have a notebook is we hope that you could take something away that you can actually implement this year. Maybe it's a product, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just an idea. Maybe it's a practice. All of you, as we look at the different simulcast locations, those of you here in Tremont, there's farmers from 32 different states taking part in this event, 11 different countries. So when you're sitting down to lunch, take advantage of the opportunity. Talk to the guys next to you. But you see the quote, the challenge in life's not understanding, it's in the doing. So what are you going to do? That's the other reason. Hopefully take some notes throughout the day, learn something that you can implement, and take that away and really take that home to your farm. All right? So we're looking forward to a great day. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. With that, we're going to go ahead and break, look for your group leader, and we're going to start moving into the breakouts and get started with the content. Thanks a bunch.